Perfect. Um, Okay, so I hope everyone can see my screen. So here we're here today to help our students to apply for some scholarships. So we put together this presentation that will kind of guide you through the process. And like Lauren said, she's going to be monitoring the chat box to see if there's any questions or any technical issues with anything, so that way we could address any of those issues as they come up. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and go through the presentation. So again, if you have questions, please feel free to just jump into the chat box and put them in there so we could get those addressed. Okay, so to start off, I do want to talk about our mission statement. Our mission in our department is to be that centralized scholarship office that is committed to serving our students and our campus community as a liaison to promote access to financial resources, connecting our students' passion with their educational goals. We are dedicated to funding the future of Sac State students one scholarship at a time. So we have a little motto in our office. Our motto is one application, hundreds of opportunities. We say that because there's only one little application that you had to fill out that opens up the opportunity to different hundreds of opportunities that are available to our students. So that is something that we are really working on pushing for our students to make sure that they're applying for these opportunities, because one of the things I've noticed when I first got hired is that we have a lot of funding that's out there and a lot of students are not applying for the different opportunities that are available. So we're hosting and connecting with the different departments to see how we could push to get a higher applicant pool. So that's why we're here today. So we're here so we could go ahead and try to show you how to apply and be that guidance in ensuring that we could connect you with the different opportunities that are available. So our financial aid and scholarship office at Sac State has awarded nearly $4 million in institution scholarship opportunities each year. We hope to see this number increase, and which we already have seen so far. We're able to do that because of the different things that we're doing in-house with our department as well as our campus partners. So 4 million was our historical data. We hope to see this number grow so we have that opportunity available for our students. So again, by completing one single applications, our students are matched to all the available scholarships that are offered at Sac State. And our scholarships are offered by various colleges, departments, and organizations to undergrad and graduate students who meet the criteria. So how do you do this? So basically, there is a general application that's out there. With the general application, it does open up the opportunity to different institutional and department scholarships. We do mirror the FAFSA and the DREAM Act application cycles to where it starts on October 1st and it ends on March 2nd. If I was a student, I would just make it a rule of thumb. As soon as you finish your FAFSA or your DREAM Act application, the very next thing you should do is jump onto our scholarship portal to finish out your general application, because again, that's funding, that's free money that's available. So it's mindful. I would pay attention to the I would pay close attention to these deadlines so that way you could make sure you get the other free funding that's available outside of the FAFSA and the DREAM Act. Okay, so with our scholarship portal, there are two different types of opportunities that are available. So the first one, we could qualify for auto match opportunities, and then you could also apply for the apply to opportunities. So with the auto match, these are completed with a general application, and then the apply to are located in our recommended opportunities once you go to the scholarship portal. We do currently have over 800 institutional and department scholarships here at Sac State. So that's a lot of different opportunities that are available to the students. I'm going to talk a little bit in detail about the two different types that we have. I'm going to start off with the auto match, and then I will discuss some of the apply to opportunities as well. Sorry, excuse me. So with the auto match, like I mentioned earlier, all you have to do is fill out a general application. With the general application, it's basically based off of your student imported data that gets imported into the portal automatically. So by just answering 5 short questions, you're able to automatically get into the auto match applicant pool. So there's no additional information that's required from the students besides answering the 5 questions. The auto match Application cycle dates again are October 1st. So October 1st, the application's open, and then you have until March 2nd to get the data completed. So even if you were to start your application today, you could go back in there to make some edits before the deadline. So that way you can enhance the information that you have. So we do encourage, hopefully by tonight, you are able to log on, get into the general application to start your short questions. And then that way, if you need additional help, we could always connect with you to make sure it gets updated before the deadline. As I mentioned earlier, so the general application does have 5 short responses. So they are listed here. We are going to go ahead and talk about them in detail in the next couple of slides here. But what I do recommend right now is either taking a screenshot or opening up a Word document so you can start writing these questions down, and that way you have time to write the data. I do work with my coworker who he's great at pulling data and over the history of all the applicants who have been awarded in with the CSU system, he's noticed a few trends. And so he's working on making enhancements to our application every time or every year. So when you log on to the general application this year, you will notice there has been some changes. We have noticed that in the historical data, on average, those who have been selected to some of these opportunities are writing about up to 300 characters per question. So that's why you'll notice that they are limited to the 300 characters for each one. So question one, first one says describe your academic achievements and how they support your academic goals. When you log onto the application itself, all these helpful hints will be listed under each question, but I did highlight them today so we could talk about them. So with the academic achievement, it could include anything that you have done over time that has helped you overcome areas of struggle within your academic career, and awards that you have received from your work as a scholar. Academic goals will be something that you have, like how has connecting with your college counselor, advisor, professor, teacher's assistants, or peers shaped your academic achievements and goals. The purpose of me going into detail with these questions is I've noticed that in the past, their students were either leaving the questions blank, or they weren't answering, it by leaving it blank, or they weren't providing a detailed answer to the questions asked. So again, I do recommend connecting with the different resources on campus that could help proofread and guide you through the questions. If you don't know how to answer the question, we could always provide that feedback to you, as well as showing you the helpful hints listed below. So again, the first one is describe your academic achievements and how they support your academic goals. Second one is describe in detail your career goals and your job experience. This one's very interesting to me because I know with the past workshops I've hosted, there were some students that struggled with this question. And so I do like the helpful hints on this one because it does say to consider the following to help your guide you through the response. Like for example, the first one says, how has my job or your internship experience prepared me for your future career path? That's always a good topic to get started when you're answering this question. It kind of guides you through that. Like it's kind of like a starting point to kind of get you into talking about your career goal and where it's going to take you with your major that you're studying in. Or any one of the other questions listed below, it says, what are my current goals at Sac State? What are my future goals after graduation? How will I work towards achieving these goals both in and out of the classroom? If you answer any one of these questions with this response, I'm sure you're going to come up with 300 words or more. But again, remember just to limit it to the 300. But these questions are triggers to help you get started in answering that. And again, if there's any questions, please jump in so that way Lauren can answer that for you. Or if I'm going too fast, let me know as well. Question number 3, it does say to highlight any groups or organizations on campus or off campus that you belong in. This one is very interesting because a lot of the students I have met so far have told me that they haven't had time to join an organization or club. I think it's listed in here too, to where I have told the students that even if you haven't had time to join an organization at this moment, you could talk about the ones that you have looked around to see or have to, received research on to see what kind of organization you can go into with the career choice that you're going to. Again, it's really important not to leave this question blank, because even if you're not in an organization, you could talk about the ones that you want to be in, so that that way you could talk about how it's going to guide you to your career goal. And then the helpful hint here says, please focus on activities in which you are passionate about or have been involved with for multiple years. If you're interested in and did not get a chance to join an organization, please describe the organization that you're interested in joining. So again, focus on that part when answering this question.
Marcia, sorry to interrupt you. It looks like, yeah, she has a question, if you don't mind. Sorry, like a live one.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I didn't want to disrupt you, so I raised my hand real quietly like that.
No worries.
You say that we don't need to be in a club to like talk about it, right?
Yes.
Perfect. So I'm a freshman. Do you think
Yes.
you can talk about the organization that I used to volunteer at in high school?
Yes, 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 yes,
Okay,
yes.
perfect.
Perfect question. And you just answered it for yourself. Yes, you definitely want to talk about different, because I mean, especially with the freshmen, you've definitely have been in clubs in high school, right? So you want to talk about,
No, because my school was really small, so we didn't have any club.
oh, so it's off campus.
Yes, it's off campus.
Yes, you could definitely talk about that, because that's, you want to show something that describes your passion, anything that is going to make you stand out from everybody else. Because you remember there are 800 opportunities out there, so you want to highlight anything that's going to bring you out in when you're answering this question.
Oh, okay. Also, so I'm a business major, but the organization that I volunteer at, like, is not relating to like business or like anything, um, like my major. It's more like vaccines. You know, like back in COVID, I volunteered at the organization that give out shots. Should I
Oh,
talk about that or?
um, yes, because these questions do trigger the auto match questions with the general application. You can talk about that. I know with like the applied to, some of them do focus on more of the, like the ones that are related to the College of Business. So
Uh-huh.
it's a hit and miss. It's different. You could focus on the College of Business questions with the applied to opportunities, but this one is more triggered off of other opportunities that are available. You just want to highlight the fact that you have been in different organizations and groups. And then Lauren,
Oh, I
if you,
see.
yeah, and Lauren, if you want to add into that question, you're more than welcome to.
Uh, Thank
Okay.
you.
And also, I'm just gonna mute you, Raj, because of the echo. And also, like Raj had mentioned, this is a general application, so you're just filling this out. It's going to apply to a multitude of scholarships. So even if the scholarship that you're looking at is not business related, all of the information that you have on your general application will be reviewed. So if you have community service, like you mentioned, like during COVID, you can talk about that and what that impact was like for you, you know. And then there also is help text on the general application. So whatever you have, whatever you've been a part of, whatever organization you've been a part of, if you've had like a position of leadership in that organization, talk about it. Because there are a ton of applicants and you just want to do whatever it is to make you stand out. And I think that's a great example of something that would.
All right, that makes sense. Thank you so much.
That was a great question. And thanks, Lauren. Okay, so I'll go to question number 4. Describe a minimum of 2 to 3 leadership positions that you have held and what you have learned from each. This is another great one because like freshmen always say this, or other students. I know I went to a housing workshop a few months back. One of the students was struggling with this question. She could not pull out anything from her resume or any of her past experience to demonstrate her leadership opportunities. However, after talking to her and picking her brain a little bit, I did find out that, you know, she was, her father had recently passed away and her mom was a single mother. So she helped in taking care of her siblings, and she was the first one to go to college and to try to, you know, as she's graduating or pushing to graduate from college, she's also setting an example for her siblings. So I told her that's part of like a leadership. You just have to dig in, try to see where you could find that. So again, like the helpful hints say that it could be a traditional or non-traditional example that demonstrates the leadership positions that you have held.
Just let you know your camera's off.
Oh, sorry about that. And then lastly, question number 5, describe in detail the involvement in a minimum of 2 to 3 community service roles. This is another one that comes up a lot because a lot of students state that due to COVID, they weren't able to participate in any activities. Again, you could talk about what you're passionate about. If you aren't doing anything actively right now, you could talk about what you have done in the past or what you feel like you want to do with your career goals or in general what you're passionate about with in different areas. So there are again some questions here that could help you trigger into writing these questions or answering these questions, like what made you interested in volunteering? What do you enjoy most about volunteering? How long have you been volunteering? And then what did you learn from it? You just again write a few things about what it takes. I know when I was in high school, part of the thing, some of the things that we had to do in order to just graduate from high school, we had to do some community service um, within the community to in order to graduate from high school. Or I know with like my church, we were doing some community services, and I didn't realize I could write that in some of my scholarships until somebody told me about it. So again, just dive in deep and look into the questions when you're answering these. Oops.
I have a question if you don't mind.
Yes.
Okay. So would you guys like rather me listing all of the community service that I did, or would you guys rather me focus on like the big one?
You could, I mean, it depends. I think like if you want to list a minimum of 2 to 3, you could go ahead and list a few.
Mhm.
But mainly focus, if it was me, I think I would like to see more of like the passion of why you did this and what it brought to
Okay.
you. Yeah,
I
so
see.
pick some of like your favorite ones or the top ones, or again, look at the different scholarships that are going to be available and focus on that way as well. But right now, we're just focusing on the general application that's going to open up the opportunity to open the door for the different opportunities.
Okay,
Nope.
perfect. Yeah,
Mhm.
that makes sense.
Lauren, do you
Yeah.
want to add anything to that one? Or? Nope. Okay. Oops, is it going? Okay. And then next, after the auto match questions, you are going to be looking at the recommended opportunities, which are the applied to. So like with the College of Business, they do have quite a few in there as well. There's a typo on my slideshow. Sorry, this should say applied to. But however, the applied to basically does require additional information outside of the general application. So the 5 questions that we just went over is the general application. And then the applied to will ask for additional documents as far as like perhaps some of them ask for a letter of recommendation or some of them ask for an essay. It just varies between the different ones. I know with College of Business, they have quite a few opportunities that are available. I believe when the last time I was checking the portal, I think there was over 90 something applications that you could go through. And if you want a listing of that, you can also reach out to our office, or once you do the application itself, it will automatically pop on your recommended opportunities, and I'll show you that. The application cycle for College of Business does with the apply to does not open up until December 12th. However, it does have the same deadline of March 2nd. So this is the important part. So how do you get to these opportunities? So you're going to go to your scholarship portal. I find it easier to just type in scholarship Sac State, but it's through your portal as well. Or you could copy down this address here and go ahead and click on the link. I do want to point out when you do click on this, there are 2 tabs. You want to make sure you're clicking on the applicant tab. That way in signing in with your credentials, a lot of students say, we get a lot of requests stating that they're having issues logging in. I would like to remind everybody that we can't reset the password. It's just a matter of remembering that in order to log in, it's your same Sac State credentials. So you're going to insert your username as your username, and your password is going to be your password for your Sac State. From there, it's automatically going to take you to the general application once you fill it out. But then remember when I was talking about the apply to opportunities, in order to get to that, you're going to click over opportunities and click down to recommended. And from there, a list of scholarships will pop up based off your information. It is important to remember you're not going to be able to apply to any of the apply tos until you finish your general application. So that's why it's really important to focus on getting those questions answered, so that way you could go ahead and look at additional opportunities that are available to you through the apply to. I did list 2 examples, but like I said, there's over 90 something scholarships within the College of Business. But these 2, I really liked them. They stood out to me, so I figured we could go ahead and give you an example of what kind of scholarships you're looking at. With this one in particular, it looks like they do award a minimum of 2 awards at 4,000 per award, and the GPA requirement is 3.0. The business each opportunity itself has different requirements, and so you do want to look at each requirement when you're looking at it. So in this one, it looks like all you have to do is be a business major. It is open to juniors and seniors. Even if you're a freshman right now, does not mean, I mean, obviously you're not going to be able to apply for this one, but you could look at this and save it and start aiming towards it, or start building up your application to it, so when you are a junior, you could work on getting it submitted right away. So in this case, it is junior and senior. The enrollment requirements is that you do have to be full-time at of award and the time of application. And the reason why it's applied to is because it requires additional information. So this is what I'm talking about with the additional information. So in this case, this one does require the student to answer a question by completing an essay up to 2 pages that addresses why the applicant is interested in business studies, and how the applicant intends to apply these studies in his or her career. And then it lists out the other requirements. Like, for example, this one states that you do have to be a U.S. citizen or a student with a valid F1 visa. There is a preference given to students. However, this is not a requirement, so just remember that. So, but the preference is entrepreneurship or student enrolled in business honors program. It looks like it's also students that appear to utilize their business studies in their careers, or preference given to students that demonstrate strong written and verbal skills. Another example is this award here. This award awards up to 2 scholarships annually at a desired minimum of $5,000 per scholarship. And then the GPA requirements listed here, as well as the major with, again, the preference, again, but does not mean, I mean, as long as you are a business major, then you could apply for it. This is just a preference. And then let me see with this one. What I really liked about this one is that there is an opportunity for the student to receive this up to 8 semesters with the maximum amount of $20,000 per recipient. That is a lot of money. Like, if I was going to college, this is something I would look into. This is something I would start aiming towards if I'm not a junior yet, just because $20,000 will pay for like, most of my education. I would definitely want to do that. Are there any questions so far?
I think I'm okay.
Okay, perfect. So again, I just listed out 2 examples, but once you finish your general application, definitely read through each recommended opportunity that's available to you. That way you could start answering each question. So other helpful tips that we have with the general application or to apply to is just make sure you meet all the application deadlines. You want to make sure you gather all your information early. You want to make sure you request for your letter of recommendations in a timely manner. If the deadline is next week, you don't want to pressure the person you're getting a letter of recommendation to getting that for you like right away. So you want to give them enough time so they have time to get that letter back to you in time. So jot down the deadline, start making additional deadlines for yourself. So in case you want to say, oh, by, this month, I'm going to get my application done, but by next month, I'm going to make sure I have somebody read it for me. So that way I can make all the edits that I need to. You just want to be mindful of all that before the actual deadline of submitting the application itself. You do want to write a great response. You always want to check for grammar. You do want to take advantage of the different campus resources that are available, as well as attend additional scholarship workshops. Our department itself is hosting another few workshops, which I'll share in the next slide here. So even if it doesn't, or hold on. So our department is hosting the scholarship workshops. You're more than welcome to attend that, because again, we're going to be walking around and assisting students in proofreading their information or guiding them on how to answer the question. Obviously, we can't tell you what to do, but we will guide you through the process of what you could do to make it better. So just make note of the workshop so you could go ahead and attend that. I'm going to go back to the one above that where it says take advantage of the campus resources. For this one, I think it's really helpful to like go meet with the career service, for example. Career service is going to guide you into the career that you're going to go into after you graduate from here. So what other, I mean, I think that would be the best place to start with because they could proofread your information. They could guide you like how, to give you information how you could write a better response to some of these questions. Because some of these questions do ask like how is this career goal going to take you into that job that you want to go into, so they might have some helpful tips that you could get from them so to help you answer those questions. Okay. I did add 2 more slides on helpful tips. The first one does say fill out your application. I, I think it's really important to make sure you take your time to fill this out. I mean, it is open from October 1st and it ends on March 2nd. Don't wait until the last minute because you do have to proofread it and go talk to different people to have them give you guidance on the information. You don't want to wait until the last minute to make sure to get that application submitted. I really find it really important to get a Word document and list all the questions and start writing it down, not just the general application questions, but also the applied to questions. For me, I know Word helps me keep track of my word count, monitor my, watch for the grammar, all that stuff. It's just easier as opposed to the application itself. So again, I highly encourage using Word and then copying and pasting it into the application itself. Another reason why is because with some of these questions, they are repeated on some of the questions or some of the opportunities. It's easier to revise in your Word document instead of hitting back and forth going through the application itself. Let's see what else. Oh, another great one is to request for honest feedback from your trusted peers or your mentors because they're the ones who know you best. So they might help you be able to highlight some of the success that you have that will help you get these scholarships. And then lastly, after you submit your application, which is your general application, you do want to make sure you look at these recommended opportunities because, again, there's over 800 opportunities that are available to our students. Don't limit yourself to just the auto match. Focus on some of the apply to opportunities that are available as well. As I mentioned, we do have a couple workshops that are coming up. The next one we have is November 30th. It starts at 12 p.m. and ends at 2:30, and it's in Mendocino Hall in room 2003. If you have your drafted responses to those questions, you can always bring that in and we could help you and review the questions that you have already. And that way we could guide you through the process as well. And then besides that, we do have 2 other ones from our workshop, from our department on February 6th and 7th from 12 p.m. to 2:30 in the Folsom Hall. And then I believe College's Business is having another one in February as well. We are located in Lassen Hall. We are not set up with student facing at the moment, but if you do want our help or if you have any questions with us, you can always email us. We do have a little policy within the office that we do tend to respond within 24 to 48 hours with our email. So even if we can't answer you with the whatever you have, we're going to try to get that information for you, but we will respond within the 24 to 48 hours to let you know that we're looking into that question that you have. And you can also call us. Our number is listed here. It's also on our website. That's about it for there. Let me see. Oh, and that's it with my scholarship website or my presentation. Are there any questions with anybody?
Yes. Is there like a department or something that can help us writing our essay, like the scholarship essay?
I know, who was it that said that they could help? I forget.
Uh,
Do you remember?
yeah, there's the writing. I'm gonna get the name wrong. I think it's the
The
writing
writing center?
center.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. I think I heard about that too, but
they
I'm
have
not
an
too sure.
yes, and they have an excellent resource. I think they update it every year where they kind of showcase like what a good essay would look like depending on what you're writing about. So they have research papers, they have personal statements, I think they have resumes, they have cover letters. So I would definitely go and see them because they're super helpful. And I looked through the one from last year and I was like, I could use this for my own professional development. So the writing center is awesome.
All right, that's so cool. I'm definitely gonna check them out.
Yeah.
All right, I think I'm gonna have to leave now. Is it okay if I leave? Thank you so much for the presentation. It was really helpful. Thanks a lot.
Thank
Thank
Have
you
a
you.
for
nice
attending.
day.
Thank you.
Thank you.